Okay, let's do our second unseen, the story of Furius Camillus by Eutropius. This particular Camillus is one of the descendants of one of my favourite characters in the Aeneid, Camilla, the sort of warrior queen on the who's fighting actually against the Trojans. She ends up getting hunted and killed. You may remember we translated a story where she got flung across a river while attached to a spear. She is a very cool character in the Aeneid. Anyway, let's start off here. If you want to pause this and translate it, then we'll go through it together. Okay, the first sentence. Cepit et feriscos non minus nobilem civitatem, sed commota est invidia, quod praedam male dibisset, damnatus quae ob eam causam et expulsus civitate est. Okay, this first one. And he captured Falerii, not a less important state. An example of litotes there. But invidia, envy, was stirred up because divisit, because he had distributed the plunder unfairly or wrongly. And damnatus, perfect passive participle there, and having been condemned ob eam causam, for that reason, he expulsus est, he third person perfect passive singular, he was expelled from the state, from the city. Statim Galli ad urbem venerunt, et victos Romanos apud flumen aliam secuti, etiam urbem venerunt, et victos Romanos apud flumen aliam secuti, etiam urbem occupaverunt, neque defendi quidquam nisi Capitolium potuit. Again, these are long sentences, so it's crucial that you look at the endings, each and every ending. And again, I would suggest that you find your main verb, then figure out the subject, then figure out the object, and allow all the rest of it to flow around there. Don't put pen to paper until you know what the whole sentence means. So we start off then. The first sentence, we find our main verb venerunt, we need to find our subject, and it's obviously Galli. So immediately, the Gauls came to the city, and we look at this next word, victos Romanos. They are accusative plural, so they cannot be the subject of the next bit. It's secuti. And having followed the conquered or the defeated Romans up to the river Alia, comma, etiam urbem occupaverunt. They even occupied the city. And neque defendi quidquam. And literally, not anything, potuit, was able, defendi, present passive infinitive, to be defended except for the capital line. Now we will change that and we will say, and nothing was able to be defended apart from the capital line. Okay, secuti there, a perfect active participle. So again, you need to be looking at each and every bit of it and look at the endings of each of the words and see what they agree with. Quod cum diu obsedissent et iam Romani fame laborarent, a Camillo, qui in vicina civitate exsulabat, Gallis superventum est, gravissimeque victi sunt. So now we have this temporal clause. When they had besieged this place, a connecting relative there. Those feature a lot in Roman literature and indeed in the exams. When they had besieged which thing, but we wouldn't say that. When they had besieged here, Dio for a long time, and the Romans were now in trouble with hunger, with famine, with hunger, I think we would say, and the Romans were now suffering from hunger. A Camillo, so we now need to figure out, it's the Gallis superventum est. The Gauls were surprised. Literally, it was surprising to the Gauls. The Gauls were surprised, a Camillo, ablative, by Camillus, who was in exile in vicina civitate, in a neighbouring state. And they gravissimeque, a superlative adverb there, and they were heavily victi sunt, they were heavily beaten, they were heavily defeated. Postea tamen accepto aro ne Capitolium obsiderent recesserunt, sed secutus eos Camillus ita cecidit ut et aurum quod his datum erat, et omnia militaria signa quae ceperant revocaret. This next bit then, postea tamen. Afterwards, however, accepto aro, ablative absolute. Let's try and avoid the with something having been somethinged. Let's try and make it sound a little bit more fluent English. So maybe after they had received the gold, not to attack the Capitoline, a negative purpose clause there, hence the imperfect subjunctive of obsiderent, having received gold, in order that they not attack the Capitoline, recesserunt, they retreated. But, said, secutus, deponent verb, so get a perfect active participle here, but having followed them, Camillus cecidit ita. Cecidit here coming from kaido, not kado. So kaido, I slaughter. I'm going to change it around a little bit and use, I think, maybe defeat. He defeated them, ita, in such a way, as soon as I see that ita, I'm thinking it's a trigger word, very possibly going to be followed by a result clause, and look at that, I'm absolutely right. He defeated them in such a way, ut, that he revocaret, that he recovered the gold, quod, which datum erat, pluperfect passive, which had been given to these men, et omnia militaria, signa, and all the military standards which they had captured. Ceperant there, a pluperfect active. Ita tertio triumphans urbem ingressus est, et appellatus secundus Romulus, quasi et ipse patria conditor. In this way, celebrating a third triumph, triumphans there, a present participle in the nominative. In this way, celebrating a third triumph, ingressus est, he entered the city, and he appellatus, and he was called a second Romulus, as if he himself were the founder of the city.